What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, ever since Marvel Studios has been releasing content on Disney Plus this year, they followed a pretty standard marketing MO. We get a ton of trailers throughout the week leading up to every next episode in the shape of 15 or 30-second clips, sometimes a full minute, either from the week before or a preview of the week to come. But that hasn't come without its problems and mistakes, most notably during Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The post-finale Stream the Series in Full Now trailer actually went live the night before, something that was clearly meant to be aired after the finale, as it gave away major scenes and first reveals, including Anthony Mackie in the Captain America suit. You could imagine Disney Plus and Marvel want that in the TV show, not on a leaked trailer of their own doing that just happened to go live early. And this happened several times throughout Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision. Now, it hadn't really happened during Loki. Of course, pre-screeners got to see the first two episodes. There was information out there. However, it's happened again now for episode 4, presumably with two major still shots, and the implications are huge for characters like Nathaniel Richards, Doctor Doom, and of course Kang the Conqueror. Clearly this was part of a TV spot that Marvel ran and then probably pulled. That's why it hasn't been posted officially, but since the shots are out there, we got to break it down in full, and man, the implications are insane. So many ties going on here. We're going to break down everything from these brand new leaked screenshots from Loki episode 4, but first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We're still giving away a PlayStation 5 now at 900,000 subscribers, as well as Disney Plus subscriptions every week while the shows are live. And we've just announced during Loki our Avengers 118 graded in a 9.4 CGC signature series, which means CGC, the company that grades this comic, was there in person when it was signed by Tom Hiddleston Loki and Elizabeth Olsen Scarlet Witch, who happened to feature side by side on the cover. If you want to be entered to win the comic, the subscriptions, the PlayStation, any of the giveaways here at the channel, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button because you need to be a subscriber, then leave a comment down below, and if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So only because I have to, the normal spoiler warning: if you're still hanging around, you obviously want to see these still shots, but if you weren't listening during the prologue, if I'm background noise for you, no problem, I ain't mad at you, but now's the time to back out. Okay, so the very first one is the one we used on the thumbnail, so you've seen it. It's Owen Wilson's Mobius character driving, and he looks super frustrated by itself. This isn't a reveal of any kind, although I would say through his back window, the landscape does look pretty similar in a purple hue to what we just saw. However, we know this isn't Lamentus 1. In fact, we know that this is ancient Egypt, or at least what looks like ancient Egypt, because you can clearly see there a pyramid off to the left-hand side located behind the Sphinx, and presumably the car we see in the foreground is the one that Mobius is driving furiously up to the Sphinx. Now, for some of you, this image might not be that exciting. After I explain, it might be, but if you're an old school comic head, or if you read any of these original stories, the hair on the back of your neck or arms probably just stood straight up. Let me explain. Nathaniel Richards, a 31st century scholar and possible descendant of Reed Richards' time-traveling father Nathaniel, becomes fascinated with history and discovers the time travel technology created by Victor Von Doom. That's right, Dr. Doom. He then travels back in time to ancient Egypt aboard a Sphinx-shaped time ship and becomes the Pharaoh Rama-Tut, with plans to claim En-Sabanur, the mutant that is destined to become Apocalypse, as his heir. Rama-Tut's rule is cut short when he's defeated by the time-displaced Fantastic Four. An embittered Nathaniel Richards travels forward to the 20th century, where he meets Dr. Doom, who he believes might be his ancestor. He later designs an armor based on Doom's, calling himself the Scarlet Centurion, pits the Avengers against an alternate reality counterpart of themselves. He plans to dispose of them all, but actually the Avengers manage to defeat him. Nathaniel then tries to return to the 31st century, where he's originally from, but overshoots by 1,000 years, discovering a war-torn Earth that uses advanced weapons they no longer understand. He finds it simple to conquer the planet, expanding his dominion throughout the galaxy, and reinvents himself as Kang the Conqueror. But this future world is dying, so he decides to take over an earlier, more fertile Earth. Now, before we even start to unpack that, because I know that was a lot, let me break this down and explain it very simply. Nathaniel Richards, not a distant relative of Reed Richards, but rather Reed Richards' father, who's also named Nathaniel, who time travels. Could be a distant relative of him all the way in the 31st century, so this is 1,000 years ahead. Decides he's going to go back in time, and in that image I showed you guys, you can see in the bottom left-hand corner the clock with all the hands. That should remind you of the clock that we saw in the very first episode of the TVA. Now, he travels up and down the timeline taking different names, reinventing himself as Kang the Conqueror, and this is one of the later reveals in comics. Seriously, after decades of stories about Kang, this one comes along in the modern era and completely recontextualizes the character in a way readers had never known him before. Definitely some implication here as to how Marvel Studios plans on handling this character in Jonathan Majors. However, you have to think about it in context of where we are right now in the MCU. We're about to have the Fantastic Four, and in a major way. We also know that Doctor Doom is somewhere right behind that, and on top of that, that Kang the Conqueror, Jonathan Majors, heavily rumored to appear in this series and will be the major villain in Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp, where we also assume the Fantastic Four might actually show up before their own feature film, if not in a post-credit scene, as actually part of the storyline. Now, knowing all that, when you see the image of a Sphinx in the middle of a still shot from a time-traveling Marvel show like Loki amidst a storyline that Kang fits perfectly into, and with future projects that would line up with this iteration, Nathaniel Richards, a future relative of Reed Richards, who we know will probably be a prominent protagonist on the level of Iron Man or Captain America during this saga, whatever they end up calling it. Add all that up, and seeing this imagery here certainly makes it feel like Marvel is planting the early seeds for this to play out. And remember, as I mentioned moments ago in this video, when we all find this out as comic book readers, this is after decades of Kang stories. This is a major reveal. I also sort of wonder how they plan on playing this with Jonathan Majors' character, if we're going to see him as different iterations, looking different and taking different names before they tie it all together. But this is an extremely complicated storyline, and I know Marvel Studios definitely has the ability and the resources to do it. I just know that they don't want to alienate fans along the way, leaving them in a complete mess that's unexplained. So I'm anxious as you guys are to see how they're going to untie all this and how they're going to reveal it piece by piece. Do I think, again, we'll see Nathaniel Richards in an episode of Loki? Absolutely not. But my money would be on Jonathan Majors showing up at some point throughout the series. Now that we're seeing the Sphinx, it seems a lot more likely. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments how you feel about any of this, and if they don't really explain these details, but they do indeed make this the spaceship, is this just a major setup for all of these characters I brought up? Would they go that far and that deep on Disney Plus? Let me know all your thoughts down below, and quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. We're still giving away this PlayStation 5 now at 900,000 subscribers, as well as Disney Plus subscriptions every week while the shows are live, and that Avengers 118 rated in a 9.4 signed by Tom Hiddleston and Elizabeth Olsen. If you want to be entered to win any of the giveaways or for any of the future prizes, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button, then leave a comment down below, because it's truly random. The more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos, the same way we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content at the channel is to hit the notification bell with notifications turned on. And as always, if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me over on Twitch and Instagram under I Am Fires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, wherever you listen to original music under the name All Fires. Thanks so much for checking out the channel. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.